Hi there. Learn how to recreate this ionic puzzle game from scratch, complete with smooth animations, falling blocks, intuitive controls, and addictive gameplay. We'll guide you through every step from setting up the game grid to implementing the game logics such as piece rotation, smooth controls, line clearing mechanics, real-time scoring, and much more with JavaScript. Here's a preview of what we'll be creating today. First, user can see the container with text says start game. We need to press space to start the game as same as our previous games. Our Tetris game will feature to render the game board and you will be able to control the falling Tetrominoes with keyboard inputs. We need to complete the lines and tool will automatically remove the lines and it will update the scores on top. Again, I'm going to fill some lines. The tool will automatically remove all the lines and then score will automatically updated on top. This game is endless until we filled all the rows in an board. For example, I'm going to fill all the rows, then the tool will display the results as game over. On top, we can see the total score taken by the user. Again, we can hit the space, it will reset the game to play. Don't miss out this fun and educational project, and I upload unique project videos every week. Please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. If you have any questions or suggestions, make sure to subscribe our channel Sarachandar K. Your support means a lot. That helps me to create more content for you and hit that notification bell to stay updated with our latest content. Now let's dive into the code. Let's open this Tetris game project folder in my favorite code editor, Visual Studio Code. Let me know yours favorite and why in our comment box below. Inside the directory I have already created index.html, style.css and script.js. Inside the index.html I have already added HTML boilerplate with the help of exclamation mark. Along with that, I have changed the title to Tetris Game by Sharachandar K. And below, I have linked the style.css and script.js. Now, inside the body, we need to add the elements to play the game. First, we need to display the scores with the help of heading H1. Inside the H1, we need to add the label of scores. Along with that, we need to update the score with the help of script. So we'll add one more tag inside this name called pan with the ID of score and then value of 0. With the help of this, we can automatically update the score from the script. Next to this, we need to add the one more element name called canvas. This element is the hero of today's project. Canvas is used to draw graphics on the fly via scripting. We'll set the attribute of width 300, height of 600. Now we need to style this. For that, I need to jump to the style.css. Here in the style.css, I have already added import URL of font family Poppins. Along with that, I have added global selector of asterisk. We need to reset the values of margin to 0px, padding to 0px, box sizing, border box, font family to Poppins from an import URL. Next to this, we need to add the styles to the body with the help of element selector name called body. Then we'll set the background color to blue color and we'll set the min height to 100 VH, display to flags. This will help us to align the content into the center of the screen with the help of align item center, justify content center. We'll set the flux direction to be column because we have two elements inside the body. So we need to set this as a column column way. And next thing, we need to add the styles to this element of canvas with the name of canvas. We'll set the background color to black, and then we'll set the box shadow 14px, 14px, 0 and 0 position and color of white. That's all for the HTML and CSS. Are you thinking about using this minimal code to create a game grid, Tetrominoes with random colors? Our previous JavaScript game playlist includes games such as memory card game, rock paper scissors, tic-tac-toe, word guessing games, and many others. All of this project have been added to the HTML elements with CSS styles and action in JavaScript. But here we want to do something more advanced. Our plan is to create graphic games with Canvas using JavaScript for the upcoming weeks, because we are close to completing our 52 weeks of 52 projects. During this 52-week period, we have covered many projects from beginner to advanced level. If you are interested in becoming a successful front-end developer, start coding, or enhancing your programming skills, we have something for everyone. I have included all the links in the description. If you are interested, please check them out. If you have learned something valuable, please click the like button. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to ensure you don't miss out on our weekly unique projects. Feel free to share any questions, suggestions, or upcoming projects with me in the comment box below. Now let us see our HTML file in action. For that, in Visual Studio Code, we have an extension called Go Live. Once we click, the tool will automatically load our project into the default browser. Here we can see the score with 0, and below we have the design with Canva. Now we need to add the functionalities to create the game grid, following the Tetrominoes and with actions. For that, we need to jump to the script.js. Here inside the script.js, we need to add the DOM content loader event listener. For that, we need to use the document. Document is an owner of your web page. With the help of this, add event listener, and we need to add the event of DOM content loaded. Once all the content loaded, then this event listener will fire. Inside this event listener, we need to declare the declaration with const of canvas equal to document dot query selector with the help of this canvas. Now we can check what this canvas contains with the help of console.log. If I save, if I go to the browser, here in the insert element, we have a console tab. Inside the console tab, here we can see the Canva element as we have created in the index.html. That is how the DOM tree will work. With the help of this declaration, we can create all the functionalities what we have. I will remove this, and then I will add the one more const with ctx equal to canvas dot get context. This get context method returns an object with tools for drawing like properties and methods. With this, we can use the 2D. First, we'll display the text to start the game. For that, we need to create one const with display message equal to function of param. With the help of this, we can add it as start game or game over. So I can initialize this with display message, and I can pass the parameter as start game. Now inside this, we'll get that param of start game. So we'll check that. If I save, if I go to the browser, here in the console, we can see the start game text as displayed from that function. Inside this, we need to add the text with the help of that get context ctx dot fill style equal to black and ctx dot global alpha equal to 0.75. We can fill the background of this ctx with the help of fill react, and 0 we need to set the canvas dot height. Because the html canvas is a two-dimensional grid, we need to pass the x and y axis with the help of canva dot height. Whatever we have already created this height, it, we need to set this background into the center of the screen. So I can divide by 2 and we'll set the -30 as well as canvas dot width, comma, and we can set the number for this. For that I can set the height of 60. That is what the parameter of number. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the background color with fill react of that ribbon. On top of this, we need to place the text. Inside this, again ctx dot global alpha equal to 1. We'll set the ctx dot fill style as white color. Ctx dot font we can use 36px and monospace as a font style. We'll set this as a center of this label with the help of text align equal to center. We'll set the text baseline equal to middle. Again we need to place this with the help of grid with fill text. We are going to fill this text with the help of text value. This text value whatever we are passing from the param. So I'm using this param as same as we need to set the canvas dot width divided by 2 and canvas dot height divided by 2. This will help us to get the x-axis and y-axis into the center of the game board. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the start game. It was placed on top of that ribbon. Now once we hit space, we need to start the game and we need to create the Tetrominoes. For that, we need to create the event listener with the help of window dot add event listener of key down. With the function, we can pass the e as a parameter. Inside this, we'll check what that e contains. Console dot log of e. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I click any of the keyboard event, we can see the a, s, and a. If I click on space, we are not getting any values. Here we can get the values with the help of key value. Here we can see the key of yes. Here this is key of space. With the help of this, we need to start the game. For that, we'll create if e dot key double equal to, as we see, that is a space, or e dot code double equal to space. We can check that through here. What is the code contain? Here we can see the code as alt f. If we hit space, if we go and check this code as space, or e dot key code double equal to 32. If any of this matches, we need to start the game. For that, we need to create one function with a keyword function new Tetromino, and this function we need to initialize inside this keyboard event. Before adding this functionality, first we need to understand what is this Tetromino. So I will go to the browser. If I check for this Tetrominoes, here we have some space with box and L shape and T shape and S or Z or I. We are consider these shapes as characters. Along with that, we need to create this objects. Then only we need to create this Tetrominoes, right? For that, I need to jump to the script.js. In the script.js, we'll create one const declaration with Tetrominoes. This is an object. Inside this, we need to create O with array and then I with array, yes with array, Z with array, L with array, J with array, and T with empty array. So I will set this as ascending order. Now I have shifted based on this alphabetical order. Inside this empty array, we need to place some binary object. Based on that, we can create this shape using Canva. For this I, we can go and check. Here we have a 4 boxes with single line. So we can use this as 1 comma 1 comma 1 comma 1 for this I. For the J, we can set 0 1 0 1 and 1 1. We can consider these boxes as zeros and ones. For that, we can split as two different array and we can say 0 comma 0 comma 1, and then second array as we have 3 space with value 1 comma 1 comma 1. For the L, we can consider 1 0 1 0 1 1. For that, 1 comma 0 0 comma 0, and then second array of 1 1 1. For the 0 we have total 4 boxes with filled value, so we can create 1 comma 1 with two arrays of 1 comma 1. For the s we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 boxes with two boxes as 0, so we can use 0 1 and 1. Second array of 1 1 0. For the t we are going to consider 1 2 3 1 2 3, so we can set 0 comma 1 comma 0. Second array of 1 1 1. For the z we can consider 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 1 0 0 1 1 1 comma 1 comma 0, and then second array of 0 comma 1 comma 1. This is what the array object of Tetrominoes with shapes. With the help of this we can create the object on canvas. Along with that we need to create one more const with colors. We need to use the colors also for this, right? With same alphabetical order I will use I comma j. So I have created for the same as above one, so we need to initialize the shape colors to the appropriate value. So for that I have created IJLOSTZ. We need to assign the colors. We can go with that I. For the I we are going to use the blue color. For the J we are going to use the crane. For the L we are going to use the orange. For O we are going to use the yellow. For the S that is red. For T that is purple. For the Z that is green. With the help of this we can pick the tetrominus from here, colors from here, and we need to display this tetrominus on top of the canvas. For that first we need to pick the tetrominus. With the help of this const declaration of object, we'll create one more const inside this function with types equal to. We'll get the keys of this const. With the help of this key, we can get the colors as well as the objects. So how we can do this? With the help of object dot keys of that determinus, we can check this types with the help of console dot log types. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can't see that the console is empty because we need to press space. Once we press space, the game will start and we'll get the keys of the determinus. With the help of this, we need to pick that random squares as well as the colors. As I said, that is a random. I think you grabbed that in our previous project. We have used that math.floor of math.random of this types dot length. With the help of this, we can pick the random types from that object. So I will display this with the help of console.log of type. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I click on space, we'll get the T. If I click on space again, we'll get that S. If I click, based on the click, it will pick the random type and it will display here. Based on this random type, we need to draw the shapes on top of the canvas. Here, if I click on space, we are getting random types many times. We need to restrict that. For clicking the space one time, we'll get only one tectominus. So how we can restrict that? With the help of some flag. So I will create let declaration is game running equal to false. Along with that, we'll create two more let declaration of timer ID that is undefined and let score equal to 0. So now with the help of this game running flag, we can assign this inside this keyboard event. We'll check if this game running as true, how it will be true, because we have declared this as false. So I can use this not off. If this is not off false, then this should be true. Whenever this is false, here we are checking this, that time only we can allow this. And once we allow, once we run this function, inside this we'll set the game running equal to true. For the next time this is true, again it will be false here. While clicking the key down, that time this will not allow to enter this function. I will show you. If I go to the browser, if I click on space, we'll get that L. If I click on space again, it will not going to display any Tetrominals here. That is how this flag will work. And then we need to create the Tetrominals with the object name called current Tetromino equal to, as I said, this is a object. Inside the object we are going to add the shapes of this Tetrominos of array. Already we have received this type. This type will get T, I, J, whatever. Based on this it will from here, and we need to place this x and y axis. As I said, we need to set this x and y of this Tetrominos equal to 0, and then we'll pass that type to here. Now we'll check what this current Tetrominos contain with the help of console.log. If I go to the browser, if I hit on space, here we get the space, that is 010, that is T, and the x is 0 and y is 0, and then type is T. We need to place this T shape on top of the canvas in center of this canvas, right? For that we need to find the x and y axis, and we need to place this on center on top of the canvas. So for that we need to create some declarations. So here we can create that with const grid equal to 30. Here we can consume this as total 30 grids, and we need to calculate this columns and rows. I will create one more const of rows equal to canvas dot height divided by that grid, same as const column equal to canvas dot width divided by grid, because this rows and columns based on the height and width we need to capture. Now we need to set this x and y position. The y should be 0. The x position we need to set on the top with the help of math.floor columns divided by 2 minus again math.floor. We need to find the Tetrominos of the type of first value should be 0 dot length divided by 2. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can check the position of x is what. If I hit on space, here we can see the position x of 4, because the column is divided by 2. What was the column contains? Here we can check the columns with the help of the same console. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, here we can get the column of 10. 10 divided by 2, that contains 5. And then for this Tetrominals of type 0, that should be L and then 0 minus 1 divided by 2 equal to 1, then we'll get the 4. They should set the position of 4 of this row. Once we get this shape, and we need to clear this grid, and we need to draw the shape on top. For that we need to create one more function with the name of draw. Inside this draw we can check if this game running is true, then only we need to do this draw of this game. Again we'll create one more function of draw board. This will help us to create the new board on creating this draw. We can call this game board on here. Inside this game draw we need to clear all the text, characters or everything inside this canvas with the help of position x to 0, y to 0, and then total width of canvas dot width, and then height of canvas dot height. This will help us to clear all the values inside here. Now we can call this draw inside this space function. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, now we can see that text game start is there, because we have cleared everything inside this canvas. Now we need to place the board from here. As I said, we need to create the board. For the board we have already created rows and columns with grid of 30. Along with that we need to create one more const of board equal to, we need to create the array dot form. We'll set the length of this rows same as array. We need to fill this array with the columns of dot fill of 0. Now we can check what this board contains. I will use the console.log on below to this. If I save, if I go to the browser, now we can see that rows is not going to access because because here we have created below to this. I will cut and I will paste on top of the board. That is how the hosting will work. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the total number of grids. The grid is 30, 20 columns and 10 rows. Here we have created this board. With the help of this board, we can create that. We can assume from 0 to 0, from year to year as row, from column to top to bottom. With this, we can change this 0 to 1 based on the Tetrominoes. We can create the game squares with the help of this board. Now we need to create one more function to get the Tetrominoes with the function name as draw Tetromino. We'll pass the Tetromino what we have received from this random one, and we'll get the offset x from the Tetrominoes of x and y from what we have created here, and then offset y. Inside this function we have received this Tetromino dot for each of, we'll get the row comma y as a function parameter. Inside this we'll check what that row contains with the help of console.log. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, nothing is there because we have not yet called this Tetrominoes of draw. We can call this after the game board of dot Tetromino, and we'll pass the current Tetrominoes dot shape comma current Tetromino dot x, current Tetromino dot y. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, here we get the two set of us because the shape is yes. So we have get this 0 1 and 0 and 1 1 0. Already we have this game board. We need to place this 0 1 1 and 1 1 0 on here. We need to draw that. For this, inside this for each, we can add the one more for each of row dot for each, and here we have get that value. We have receiving 0 1 1 and 1 1 0 with x. Inside this, if this value contains, then only we need to create that squares. For creating the square, we need to create one more function with draw squares, and inside this function we are passing the parameter as x, y and color. Inside this we can add that ctx dot fill style equal to that color, and we'll fill the fill react of x dot grid because we are going to create this grid of 30, right? Y asterisk grid, and we'll set the height and width as 30 and 30 with the help of the grid, and we need to fill this stroke style equal to the black color, and again we can fill this ctx dot stroke react with x dot x asterisk grid, y asterisk grid, same as width and height as grid comma grid. Now we need to call this function inside this for each of draw square x plus offset x, because this offset x we are getting from this current Tetromino, and we'll set the y plus offset y, and we need to pass the color with the help of colors object of this Tetromino dot type. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, we are getting the squares as well as the error here. We are getting stroke react is not an function because this is not an stroke react. This is a stroke style, because for other boxes we need to set the black color. If it is 0, if I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, here we have get that 4 boxes, but color is not getting. Instead of this, we can directly get that current Tetrominoes dot type. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, here we are getting the L shape with blue color. Again I will refresh. If I hit, we are getting the squares with yellow color. Again I am refresh, I am getting the eye with blue color. We'll get that random Tetrominoes based on this function. Now we need to add the functionalities to move this. For that we need to create one more add event listener with the help of document dot add event listener with same key down with function parameter of e as we already created created. With the help of this, we'll check if this is game running of true, then only we need to fire this, else it will fire on pressing any keys automatically all the time. And then if v dot key triple equal to arrow left, copy this, I will use the else and if now I will change this arrow left and then second one as arrow right and then third one as arrow down and then fourth one as arrow up. Whenever we are clicking this key, then we need to do some functionalities. So for that I'm creating separate function for this with the help of function move left and then second function move right, third function as move down, fourth function as rotate Tetromino, because while clicking up arrow we need to rotate that. So we'll call this function inside this key press based on the appropriate function. So first one is left, second one is right, and this is down, and this is rotate Tetromino because we are clicking the up arrow. Now inside the move left we have already created this current Tetrominoes dot ax will set minus minus. So I will copy this and I will use same thing for move right. Instead of minus I will set to plus plus. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on start, if I click on arrow, it will not going to work because here we have already created the instance and it is displayed here. Instead of this we need to create this on the loop animation. For that we need to create one function name called game loop. Again we are checking if is game running of true, then only we need to draw this here. This game loop we need to run as a loop. Here for this animation we have two types. One is request animation frame, what we have already created on the previous project. For this I am going to use the set interval with the help of this timer id what we have declared above, and then I will set the set interval of this game loop and I will set the duration of 500 milliseconds. Now whenever we press space, this timer will start with the set interval of this game loop. Inside this game loop we are checking if the game is running. If it is true, then we are drawing the game. Now inside the draw function again we are checking the same, and along with that we are drawing this Tetrominus. Then this game board will run. From here we are adding this dot Tetrominus. From here we are drawing this diagram of with help of this square, and the same thing will run it in the loop. So here we have added the function with move left and move right. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, now we can see the Tetrominoes with color. If I click on right, it will go to the right. If I click on left, it will go to the left. But here it will going outside the canvas also. We need to set that collision detection. Now we need to move to down also with current Tetromino dot y plus plus. Here we have set this x minus and plus. As I said that canvas is a grid with x and y. Again I will jump to the browser. If I hit on space, if I click on down and left and right, if I go to this again, here it will go to the downstairs because we have not checked that collision. So we need to check that with the help of one more function keyword and function name as collision detection. Again inside this function we need to post that Tetromino with offset x and offset y. With the help of this we need to check. So we need to restrict this with right and left side. Right, for that we need to return this from here with Tetromino dot sum. The sum method checks if any array elements pass a test provided as a callback function. So we'll check this row again with y. Inside this again we have this return with a row of value. As we already created this dot Tetromino, same as this we are returning from here with the help of this sum method. This will help us to check if all the array is true or false. So based on that we are returning from here, and then we'll check if value not of undefined or null. We'll check const new x equal to, we can check this x and then offset x. We'll copy the same, we'll use for y also, and we'll return from here again. Return, we'll check new x less than 0 or new x greater than equal to columns, or same as new y greater than equal to rows, or what are the board we have created with new x and new y. If this condition matches, it will send us true from here, else we need to add the return manually from false here. We need to use this function of this collision detection here inside the moolf. If this collision detection of function not of true, then we need to move this with the help of current Tetromino dot shape, and we need to pass the x of the same current Tetromino dot x. We'll set that x minus 1 because we are starting from 0, and then current Tetromino dot y. If this matches, then only we need to do for minus minus. The same thing we need to do for right also. So I will copy the above function. I will use this below. Instead of minus minus, I will set to plus plus. And then here instead of minus 1, we'll add plus 1 because we are checking this end of the row plus 1 instead of 9, and we can check with plus 1 of 10 rows. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on start, if I click, now we are getting row is not a function. Why? Because here we have simply set this row. Here we have missed the sum function again. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on paste, we'll get that value. If I click on left, it is not going to the left. Again, if I click on right, it is not going to the right. So the same thing for down also we need to do. I will copy this if condition and I will paste it here. Instead of x, we'll change to y, and instead of plus 1 to the x, I will shift to y. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, we'll get that collision detection. It will not going to the left, it is not going to the right, and again it is not going to the down of the canvas from column and row. Right? How simple is this? Now we need to get another block whenever we reaches down to earth. For that, here we can add the else condition. If this is touched the down one, again we can add the new Tetromino method here. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, I will click the down arrow. Now it will came and it will hit to the down. Again, it is getting the new column. If I clicking down, we are getting the some new parameters and the new Tetromino with different shapes. So once we reach this, we need to merge. For that, we need to create one more function of merge Tetromino. For this merge, we can check current Tetromino dot shape dot for each. Inside this, we have the row again with y. Inside this for each, we'll add row of for each because we are going to merge here, and we'll check the value from here of that ax. We'll check if value for the safer side, and we need to merge this board of y plus current Tetromino dot y, and then same for this x plus current Tetromino dot x equal to colors of current Tetromino dot type. I need to use this merge Tetromino inside this move down function. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space till start, if I hit to the down, again we are getting the new one, but the board is not going to merge because we need to update this board with draw squares. Once we reach this on the below of this down earth, we need to merge with the board. So for that, here in the draw board, what we have already created inside the draw board, we can add one more for each of let y equal to 0, y less than rows, y plus plus. Inside that, we'll create one more for each of let x equal to 0, x less than columns, x plus plus. With the help of this for each, we'll get this row of x, row of y, column of x. So inside this, if the board contains y and x. After merged, we'll check what this board contains of console.log of board. If I go to the browser, if I hit on start and I'm going to add from here till it is updating. If I hit this base, we'll get this board from here. For this board, we can see this orange and orange, the same as other board. This is orange and orange. This will set to here. So only I'm checking if this y of this board and x of this board. If this both are matches, then we'll set the draw square of this x comma y and then board of y comma x. So if I go to the browser, I will remove this console.log from here to reduce the confusion. If I hit on start, we'll get the squares. Instead of moving manually, we can use this move down function into the game loop. So only we are creating this as a separate function. We can assign or initialize anytime we want. If I go to the browser, if I hit on space, now we can see I'm not pressing any of the keys. The tool will automatically moving down the text terminus. If I hit, again it is coming from the top. There it was placed. So if I click on here, again it is placed on top on the same position. We need to fix that. It was merging on top of this. Why? Because we have created this new text dominoes after that merge. First we need to merge and then only we need to create that new. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on start, we are getting this new shapes with different color. Now it is merging on the bottom. We can split, we can add like this into the bottom of the canvas and we can add the lines. Once we complete the line, then we need to clear this and we need to update the scores. How we can do that? See, again it was merging on top of this. So we need to restrict that. For that, we need to create one more function, check lines. Inside this check lines, we'll create one for each with let y equal to rows minus 1 and we'll check y greater than equal to 0 and y minus minus, because we need to check this check lines from bottom of the row. So only I'm checking from the bottom of the row with the help of y minus minus. This will check from 20, 19, 18 like that. So if I do the console.log of y, I will use this check lines inside this merge text domino. If I go to the browser, if I hit on space, if I hit on the ground, we'll get that for each 19, 18, 17 till from the bottom to top. So we need to check from the bottom to top, right? Inside this, we'll check if board y dot every, this method executes a function for every array element. This will execute with the help of every element of array with cells of this function. We'll get the cells. If this matches, we'll pass that board dot slice of y comma 1 and we need to shift this board dot unshift array of columns dot fill of 0. What this will do, this will unshift this array from the 0 of columns on top with zeros. We are removed and again we are filling with the 0 on top and we'll set the score plus equal to 100. For updating the score, we need to create one more function of update score. Inside this update score, document dot get element by id of that core element of this id dot text content equal to score of that global declaration, and then we'll call this update score from here. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, we'll get the pieces. We can append it to this below. Now this is match. Now we can see the clear line is working. It was merging on the top, and then pending thing is we need to restrict that and we need to rotate this based on the key press. For rotating, we need to jump to that rotate text domino. For this rotate text domino, first we'll get what the temp shape is. For this temp shape, we have already added this current text domino dot shape. This will get which is the current shape, and we'll set the current text domino dot shape equal to this rotated shape. For that, we need to create one more function of rotate mat matrix of that temp shape. We'll pass this parameter as matrix. Inside this, we need to return matrix of array. Inside this, we'll get that binary digits of 0 and 1s of map function. We'll pass this next value with I of this function. Matrix dot map will rotate this map of row with row of I dot reverse. Here we can check the shapes with the help of console.log with temp shape, comma, current Tetromino dot shape. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on start, here we are getting, if I click on up arrow, I'm getting the error. Why? Because here instead of this row I need to add this reverse for entire map. So I will remove this function into the end. I will add into the row here. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, if I click, we are getting this two set of array. Here we can see 0, 1 and 0 and 1, 1, 0 like this. The second array is 0 because we are updated from here. From the rotate matrix, again once we got this, we need to check this collision deduction of this current Tetromino dot shape, comma, current Tetromino dot x, current Tetromino dot y. Inside this if condition, we'll change the current Tetromino dot shape equal to temp shape because this is a temp shape we are getting from the matrix. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit, we are getting, if we click on up arrow, this will not going to rotate because this is a square. If you get that L, if I click on the top, it will automatically rotate it. We can see the rotation of the squares from the click of up arrow. Again, this merging is not happening. We can't able to add this. We need to check that. Why? Because in the collision detection, we have checked this board array of new x and new y. Instead of this, we need to check for new y and new x. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, if I drag to the down, it will adding on this bottom. If I click, it will again append on top of this spaces. We can check this of each squares. So I will check for this check lines if the score is updated or not. I will fill some spaces here, and now the last line is going to fill. Now it is filled and it will automatically updated the scores. Now if I am adding all the squares and fill the row, what will happen here? We can see the move down is merging all the pieces on top of this. Once this is filled, we need to set the game over to this. For this, we need to check whenever we press this down arrow, inside this down arrow of this button. After this, we'll check this collision deduction of this current Tetromino dot shape, and we'll post the current Tetromino dot x, current Tetromino dot y. We'll check if all the three is there, then we'll set is game running equal to false, and we'll set the clear interval to adding this of this draw with the help of timer ID, and will display the message as game over. So only we have created this as a dynamic function, so we can add any of the messages with this function. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on start, I'm getting this rotate. I'm placing all the shapes on top of this each pieces, then we'll check if that game over text is coming or not. So here now I am getting that game over. So again if I hit space, I will get this, but still it is adding on the top. Again while hitting the space, we need to reset the board. For that, in that add event listener of this key press, we'll set the score equal to 0, and we'll set the update score. Inside this only we are updating the scores as same as for the board. We need to set for each of row, we need to fill all the rows to 0, rows dot fill of 0, and then we'll call this function from here. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on start, now we'll get the pieces. I will add into the bottom of this canvas. We'll check for the lines. So now we are getting, and it was automatically cleared, and it will update the score also. And I will rotate and I will append it to here, and I will set for this. Now again I will add this blue on top of this blue. Now we'll place this red color to here. Now we'll get the 200, but here this is not cleared. If I go and add here, now it is clearing and then scores also updating. That should not happen, right? Every time based on the spaces, it will automatically update it. For that, inside this game running, we can call this draw function. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, I'm going to fill two more rows to check that functionality. Is that working or not? So I'm trying to fill that particular two rows. Yes. Now this will help us to fill this two last rows. If this is filled, the same thing is happened. Why? Because here in the check lines, we are checking the rows from bottom to top, and here we are checking and we are unshifting this columns. Again, if it is a two row, it will check on 19, and again it will go to 18 only. Anyway, we are unshifting and it will not check for the another 19. Once we unshift this, I need to set the y equal to rows. This will help us to set the y to 19 again, and then again it will check the 19th row also. I will start the game and I will clearly explain from here. I will try to fill this as a two rows. Now this is the 20th row. Now it will fill the last two rows and it will remove the last two rows from here. Why? Because it will check for the 19th row. Again it will clear. We have set this y equal to row of 19. Again it will check the same 19th row and the same thing will match, and it will remove from here. It will fill the 0 for top. That is how the check lines will work. Now it will automatically updating. Now it will fill all the row. Now we have get the game over. Here we have one bonus function to add the grids for this canvas. For that we'll create function draw grid. With this draw grid we can add the ctx dot line width equal to 1.1. We'll set the ctx dot stroke style equal to ash 232332. This is light black color. We'll set the shadow blur to 0 for this. We'll add the for each. Let I equal to 1, I less than rows. For these rows we have already calculated with the canvas height and width. Inside this we'll create one f of let. We'll add the canvas dot width divided by columns. We need to calculate these columns of this I with f. With the help of this f, we need to create the squares. ctx dot begin path. This will help us to begin this path of the draw line. We need to move to from f to 0, and ctx dot line 2. We need to line this from f to canvas height, and we need to stroke this ctx dot stroke, and then same thing we can copy and we can paste it below to this. Instead of move to from f, we'll set 0 to f. From this line to from canvas dot width from f, we can create these lines from x to y and y to x, and we need to close this ctx dot close path, because on top we have opened this begin path. We need to close it for the entire thing. So we need to call this draw grid inside this draw function. Inside this draw function, after this game board, I have initialized this method. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, here we can see the grid space, so user can easily understand where the space is running. So here we can see previously we can't able to calculate where we need to place these pieces. Now with the help of this grid, we can easily find out the path and we can place it here. How simple is this, right? This game is endless. We can play and score as much as we can. Only it will ends when we have filled all the rows. Here we have our completed Tetris game. You can start the game, control the Tetrominoes with arrow keys, clear lines, and see your score updated in real time. And that's it. A complete Tetris game built with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Feel free to customize and expand on this setup and add more feature or improve the design. If you really enjoy this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more tutorial. If you are interested in JavaScript projects like this, I have created and added a playlist link in the description. Please do check it out. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep coding and keep learning. See you in the next video. Happy coding. Bye for now. Have a nice day.